day's work already. It's only 12:30. The Data Science Festival Careers Day. Thank you for being with us. There's a whole bunch of people still downstairs already networking and stuff like that, so we might drip feed a few more people in as we're going. This has been a labour of love for the Data Science Festival team. We actually only had the idea about 3 months ago, and we decided to do it. That is that startup mentality that everyone talks about, isn't it? And the reason we're doing it is we're a data community. We've been running for close to 10 years. We've helped loads of people over the years, but our content has always been very, very technical. And what we realised at the moment as data leaders, we were getting quite a lot of people, data leaders, community leaders. Data leaders was a stretch, but thank you for not picking me up on that. As community leaders, what we realised was a lot of people were kind of coming to us looking for advice, looking for a bit of help around how to start a career, how to build a career, how to re-enter a career after having a bit of a gap. Obviously, there is a little bit of uncertain times, but there is lots of positivity out there as well. So what we're aiming to do today is bring people together, have some good fun, share some good content, connect people, and have people leave uplifted with some practical tips, and also a feeling of, I'm not on my own, there's lots of other people, and we're all in this together. So part of that, I would invite you all to talk to each other. It's a bit scary at times, but do it. It's good fun. In terms of today, this is my boy, Matt. So I've known Matt for a long, long time. Matt is a data leader. I can confidently say that. So Matt's background, held heads of data roles at big media companies, most recently director of data at Unidays, now working as a data leader in an advisory capacity, helping a number of different organisations out there. So we're very lucky to have Matt. I am going to hand over to Matt. He is going to keep this room running. We're running late, aren't we? That's entirely my fault as well. But we'll work it out. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. So I'm going to hand over to Matt. I hope you have a good day. If I could please have a round of applause first for Matt. And over to you, sir.
Thanks, Dave. Welcome, everyone. This event is free to attend and is built by the community, by all of you. With the help of our sponsors, we couldn't make this the event, the success it is going to be. Thank you to all of our exhibitors, our key sponsors, Digital Futures, dunnhumby, Data Idols, and finally CodeNode, who have provided us with such a great venue. Make sure you head downstairs and meet them all, people you can meet and talk to and connect with. If you're looking to give back to the community, we would love a testimonial from you. Please head down to the DID Media stand and answer a few questions about today. Help us to get more people involved for next year. Thank you again for attending DSF Careers Day. We hope you have a great day. I know you will. Check out your booklets for information on the DSF Mentorship Program and to enter the Digital Futures competition, where you can win a chance to become a certified Google Cloud Generative AI leader. Our first session to open today is a panel discussion on how to land the interview you want. In today's competitive job market, it's not just about what you know, it's about how you present it. And this panel will help students, career changers, returners, and mid-career professionals sharpen their personal brand to stand out in tech. I'd like to introduce our host, Rob McCargow, leading voice in AI, a TEDx keynote speaker, industry commentator, and an advocate for responsible and ethical adoption of technology, serving as senior visiting fellow at the Bayes Business School, and a founding board member of the UK's Parliamentary Group on AI. Recognised widely for his influence, he's been voted Tech Community Leader of the Year at the CogX Festival and awarded Editor's Choice at Tech Women 100 Awards for championing women in tech. I'll leave it to Rob to introduce the panel.
Thank you very much, Matt. Real pleasure to be back here at Data Science Festival. My colleague Belinda and I were at May Day about 2.5 years ago, and it's always a phenomenal event, great energy, great spirit in the room. So we're pumped to be here today. And listen, we've got a phenomenal panel and introduce the team shortly. I think you'll be impressed. I just wanted to really sort of go one level deeper into what's going on out there in the marketplace, and we'll really dig into this. Barely a day goes by where there's not another extraordinary piece of press. In fact, it was only yesterday, overnight, you might have seen Microsoft's investment of 22 billion in UK AI sector, 5 billion for Google, Nvidia, people piling in. So if there's all this huge upside that's seeing the UK tech industry worth a staggering $1.2 trillion, making us firmly the largest player in Europe, huge amounts of VC capital going into the UK startup sector, everyone talking about AI, generative AI, agentic AI. Why does it feel so hard? Why does it feel so tough to move that career dial and to land the interview you want? I'm hoping this is why we're all here. Good. Okay, some nods in the room. It's the right session. So I just wanted to really just frame it in terms of what else are the headwinds that we're facing up to at the moment. And there are quite a few. So the Office of National Statistics do a sort of quarterly review of vacancies. In the last quarter up till July versus the quarter before, we saw a 5.8% decline in vacancy numbers. Compared to the same period the year before, it was 17% down, which is 145,000 vacancies fewer in the UK marketplace. We've seen an increase from 2.1 to 2.3 unemployed people per vacancy over the course of that same period. And we've seen a 32% drop in entry-level roles since 2022. On top of that, we've seen a skyrocketing number of applicants per role. The latest figures I saw see nearly 49 applications per role on average, but I suspect the roles that you guys are going for in the most pioneering tech-enabled businesses are probably several factors even higher than that. So it's tough. It's an incredibly transactional landscape. I say that with a degree of credibility, as my first career was in recruitment, and I had a career change myself many years ago into AI, and as you hear, what I do now in terms of advising clients on the impact of the AI revolution on their workforce, on risk and growth and innovation. So to tackle this, and I will just say, by the way, we're not taking questions in this session. Straight after the panel, if you go downstairs, there's a Meet the Speaker session where you can come along and ask any of this brilliant team any follow-up questions as well. So keep those stored up. So without further ado, starting from the far end, is my colleague, Bel Whittingham, who's one of our leading talent acquisition people for PwC. She's been strategically central to some of my largest hiring initiatives, hiring hundreds of people over the last few years into cloud data engineering and AI. We also have, next to Bel, we have Luke Morton, who's the founder of First Stage, one of the most exciting and pioneering AI recruitment systems we're starting to see. So hopefully Luke's going to share a few little sort of secret tricks and tips about how to game the algorithm. I'm looking forward to that as well. Next to Luke, we have Dina Al-Alami, who's the founder of Major Confusions. And Dina is a career wellness expert. And this is something that is fundamental to retaining that approach to not just how you market yourself, but how do you stay focused and stay resilient through your career search. And last but by no means least, thrilled to welcome Tia Cheang next to me, who's the newly appointed Chief Data and AI Officer for Invest Industrial. So someone who has literally successfully navigated an interview process in the last few months. So welcome, Tia. So a round of applause for our wonderful panel, please. So I'm hoping we've got a number of themes we want to delve into. We can look at this from both in-house recruitment, we'll look at it from the tips and tricks of the most pioneering tech that's enabling talent acquisition. We can look at it from how do you have the mental fortitude and mindset to succeed, and finally, what are business leaders in technology saying right now? And let's start with that, Tia, shall we? If we could maybe kick off with you as a senior technology and data leader, what are the factors you're seeing in the marketplace here and now pertaining to tech careers?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an exciting time for the market. The market has changed and exploded in ways that we haven't seen before for data. So there are great big opportunities, like you just said, around Meta launching data centers and so on. And we're seeing this explosion in the market. But we also live in a very different job market as well, in the sense that a lot of those junior roles now can be automated, so there are less of them. We have a huge glut of people wanting to move into AI because it is innovative, it is exciting. But we're also live in a globalized world where actually companies do like to offshore a lot of their business and take those more junior roles out to the likes of India or Vietnam or Sri Lanka, where it is more cost effective. Now, that doesn't mean that there are no opportunities in the UK. It just means that you really have to set yourself aside as the strongest candidate you can. And I think that's what we're going to cover off today.
And while you're at it, could you tell us about Invest Industrial and what you're doing there?
Yes, absolutely. So Invest Industrial are a private equity firm. We own about 35 global brands across Europe, North America, and Asia. And I'm the group CDO there, so I drive out data and AI, both internally within the firm, but then also across each of those portfolio companies that we own, which are largely in industrial manufacturing, car manufacturing, those sort of things.
Very good. I might just jump to you, Bel, because as one of the sort of largest employers in the country, in the private sector, clearly you've been at the helm of some massive peaks and troughs in your time with working with me. What's the latest state of play? If you just give it straight to the team here, we're all friends.
So I think what Rob has been saying, and here, is exactly what I'm seeing from an in-house perspective as well. Applications are definitely up, but jobs are down. And what does that mean for us in an organisation like PwC? It means we can be super picky. And that is where there is a challenge. So to give you a practical tip straight up, your CV needs to stand out more than ever before. And when I say stand out, we are time poor. Hiring managers, like Tia, like everybody on this panel, we are time poor. So your CV really needs to stand out. And by that, I mean it's short and it's easy to read. I mean, I can actually, I'd hop back to Tia and ask, I mean, when do you actually read a CV? If, say, for example, your recruitment team have sent you CVs, what time of day might you be reading those?
It could be anything from first thing in the morning right through to 11 p.m. at night. It's when I have the time, but I would kind of agree that shorter is better, but definitely focused around value. You have to think about your CV not just as a log of the things that you've done, but as a marketing tool to promote yourself and talk about how the things that you've done have contributed to the business and been useful. And I think that's something that I see in the stronger CVs and perhaps not so much in the weaker ones.
Thank you. And so, you know, to really build on that, what this means is that if you sent me a CV that I'm going to share with my colleagues and it's 9 pages long, ladies and gents, it's not going to get very far. So number one from me is 2 pages, 3 at the very maximum. I can tell you this because I hire up to partner level at PwC. And money-wise, that means over £1 million sterling, okay, a year. So if somebody at partner level can make their CV 3 pages or less, so can you. So make it relevant. The storytelling is really important, and I'm going to pass to these lovely 2 people in the middle to perhaps give some little tips around that, because you've both seen different sides of this in your careers today as well.
Yeah, and by the way, I should also add around the sheer scale of this challenge now. I mean, to get our, 2,000 or 3,000 hires a year, we would have way in excess of 150,000 applications, Bel, wouldn't we, to get that sort of order?
That's right.
So
that's right.
This then, of course, augurs in the advents of many of these sophisticated recruitment tools. So I don't know if you wanted to maybe elaborate upon your business, what that's trying to solve for, and then comment on the question.
Yeah, absolutely. It is not unusual for like a data engineer role to get 600 applications. And if I'm being honest, you know, the teams who are having to look at those, they want to look at everyone and they want to support that. But it's really hard because everyone's busy and time poor, as we've already said. So you know, empathy to all sides of the equation. What I'm doing, First Stage is an AI platform that's helping candidates put their best foot forward. A CV isn't the only thing that you need to share in a hiring process because it's not necessarily going to contain everything about you. And so we're helping candidates on the candidate side give the information that an employer would need to make a better decision than just on the CV alone. And then from the hiring team side, we're helping them use AI to basically move people through the process quicker, identify the people who are really matching on roles, but also making sure everyone gets a response. I'm sure everyone in this room's experienced not receiving responses at all, or you know, some of the people I've hired this year, were looking for roles a year ago, and they're only getting replies now from some of these big companies. So, you know, that's a big problem. So, you know, we're trying to give the tools to hiring teams to be able to get back to everyone and at least give a bit of information on why you might not have got that role, so you can use that as a learning experience to progress.
And Luke, tell me through the scourge of generative AI written CVs. I mean, easy to spot, or getting harder to spot?
No.
Are they a
Yeah.
no-no? Is your platform able to sift those out? Tell me more about that.
Look, AI is being used on all sides of the war, basically, and everyone's arming up on AI tools, right? You're as people looking for roles, you're tooling up, the employers are tooling up, and it's creating, it's pushing people further apart. And I really think that's the wrong approach. We need to be changing that. We need to be using AI to bring people together, or at least allow people to move on quicker. There's lots of good sides, but in terms of AI and building a CV, I've got lots of tips on how you can use AI to improve all of that stuff. But first of all, when people say they're detecting AI, OpenAI, one of the biggest players, they've admitted that they can't write a piece of code to detect AI with any level of sophistication. It's really difficult. So that alone, first of all, is not highly unlikely. You're definitely going to have false positives and false negatives in terms of that. So that's inaccurate. And an employer who's trying to ban people from using AI in order to, which is one of the most important employable skills that you should be building right now. I mean, I think twice about applying for a company like that.
Yeah, very good. Dina, career wellness. Tell us about major confusion and then a bit of a sense of your view of the marketplace as it stands.
Yeah, at major confusions, I help candidates find jobs that work for them. So a lot of people come to me like, Dina, I need to find a job. And it's not help me with my CV. First, I'm like, no, we don't start with your CV. We start with, where are you applying? What do you want to be doing? Let's zoom out. What are you curious about? Where can you actually show that you actually care? Because employers want people who care, not just nice CVs. If I know that you care about healthcare, mental health, and I can see that in every single, not in every single, I can see that in your project, I can see that in your experience, I can see that in your degrees, then maybe there's a storyline that you can convince employers to hire you. So yeah, it doesn't start with the CV. It starts with the thinking behind the CV. Where do you actually want to go? What are you curious about? What do you want to learn? If you don't know where you want to go, what do you want to learn next? So it is a tough market, of course, in terms of people are not hearing back. But you need to also think about who's reading your CV. They want to see people who care. And in doing that, you show them by doing. You show them by the projects.
Very good. Just to sort of go a bit further into CVs, Tia, any pet hates or anything you love to see that the group here would welcome?
Yeah, so kind of going back to the your point earlier about really long CVs, I was doing a sift quite recently and I received a CV that was 18 pages long. And, when you're sifting stuff at 11 p.m. at night, that's not where you want to be. But also I look at the structure in terms of what, for a CV, I want to see a thread or a story around where you want to go to. And I think when people are applying for work, they think about the next job. And I like to see actually where's the career thread? Where is actually you as a candidate want to end up at the end of your career, i.e. when you retire, where do you want to be? And if I can see a sort of thread of consistency that travels through someone's CV, I think that's a good sign that there's a level of commitment to their career as opposed to job hopping. So I think that's a good sign. I like to see signs of continuous improvement. So if you've graduated 5 years ago and you haven't done any short courses or anything, whether that's online, free stuff, you're in a local networking group or something, I like to see evidence of that to show that you're keeping yourself up to speed on your skills. But then I also like to see, one of my pet peeves is definitely spelling, punctuation, and grammar. If you've got spelling mistakes, spell checkers are free. They're built into Microsoft Word. If you've got spelling mistakes in your CV, I really want to slap you. I'm sorry, I can put it in a better way, but that's...
We're not advocating violence on this panel.
That's what I look at it and kind of go, if this is you on your best day, putting your best foot forward, and you haven't bothered to run the spell checker, it probably doesn't showcase you in the best light.
Very good. Dina, do you continue on that in terms of pet hates and pet loves?
Yeah, when I review someone's CV, I just think, because I sit with them before and coach them, and I'm like, oh, I cannot hear your voice. I just see random words on a document. If I cannot tell what your personality is like, who you are, then I'm just like, why did you send this to me to review? That's a waste of my time. Like, put more effort. I wanna see your heart in it. I wanna see where you wanna go after, as you said. I wanna see the storyline. You wanna see effort. And if it's just like it looks like an AI generic buzzwordy, all of these buzzwords, like, no, that's no. If it's a generic CV, that's not. If I can't see where the CV is going by reading the CV, then also that's a mistake. Like, I should know that this is a consulting CV. I should know you're applying for a data analyst role in health tech. I should be able to know that from reading your CV.
And many people here will have maybe sort of non-linear career pathways, and maybe not just a standard corporate trajectory. How do you account for unorthodox backgrounds?
I think it's important to look at the end destination, like, where's the CV going? And then you kind of reverse engineer the requirements into your CV. And it can be putting different pieces of the puzzle in different sequences. It doesn't have to be a very linear career path, as long as you show, okay, I showed my interest in X and doing that project, my interest in that. And then you kind of weave a story, and that's okay. And it shows proactivity, it shows commitment, it shows curiosity, and that's okay, as long as you're catering for who's reading this and reverse engineering these.
And who's reading it is interesting, isn't it? Maybe let's just come to Luke and then Bel on this, because it's not always humanized looking in the first instance anymore, is it? So some of the level of sophistication of these tools is good, or it's really quite poor and blunt. So Luke, maybe to start off, give us some inside tricks of the trade. What's actually happening in these systems, and therefore how do people optimize their CVs to game it to their benefit?
There's an absolute spectrum on how it's being used and deployed. Honestly, AI is being built to kind of interpret words like a human and write words like a human. So the same rules apply. I mean, we're using AI to write lots of code in my startup, and we're writing plain English files to tell the AI how to work in that. And the same goes for the CVs that you're producing. I would say, don't rely on heavily image-based things and graphics to kind of tell the story. That's definitely going to be less AI-friendly, depending on the sophistication of tools. Like Workday, we were just saying, that's an absolute no-go. So just be aware of that. But you just got to, and just more generally in terms of that narrative, I think you really should weave the narrative. Even if you have experimented and you've taken a few different turns, I think you should understand why this role is really exciting you and how your journey has led you to this path. And I'm sure there are points in every bit of that experience you've had that has given you a learning that's related to this latest role and helped you get there. So you've got to try and tell that story through it. And if you haven't got a lot of experience, be working on some personal projects if you can, and highlight those as experience, and don't be afraid of sharing that, because again, if AI is being used to assess, it's going to be looking for experience using things, and if you're going for entry-level roles, there'll likely be allowances for the fact that you are it's a side project rather than a professional project, and it's just great to highlight those. So don't leave things out. You can still tell a narrative even if you have pivots, and also projects count just as much, especially in early days, but even more senior roles.
Tia, do you want to go on that, and I'll go to Bel afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to kind of touch upon this idea of stop and start. And I think the stats at the moment are that most people will have 3 careers in their lifetime. I've certainly had. I'm on career number 3 myself now. And having this pivot multiple times throughout your life is totally normal these days. And that means that you might go from here in your last career to kind of back down at the bottom. And that's fine. When you're coming to pulling together your CV, just make sure you're really pulling out those transferable skills, because there are transferable skills from your last career into your new career, whether that's your ability to communicate or work as a team or do presentations or whatever that happens to be. They actually are a really good foundation. And kind of building on what was said earlier around, do some voluntary work, go out and get mini projects or something like that, where actually you can get some hands-on experience of the career you're trying to move into. But don't forget about the value you've already contributed to the workforce from your last career.
I'm getting numbers waved at the back, which means I had to move on. So, Bel, I'm just going to move on to LinkedIn, networking, and the realities on the ground of how do you create the opportunity, not just transact and apply. Can you maybe just give us a quick view of that world?
Sure. I think that the whole nature of LinkedIn has fundamentally changed over the last 10 years in particular, and really accelerated post-COVID as well. It goes without saying that somebody in my type of role I get hundreds of LinkedIn requests, literally hundreds. And I'll be really honest, I do not accept them all. And I've actually had to become quite selective on what I do accept. And let me tell you and explain to you why. It's because if I'm connecting with people who are in my industry, I'm really, really excited to be connecting with you, don't get me wrong. But equally, I want to understand why you want to connect with me. So I have got to a point now where if people haven't actually written me a little note to say hi and introduce themselves, you don't get a response from me. I've had over just shy of 200 just in the last week. So make it stand out, make it relevant. And the second thing on LinkedIn would be, it is really important to network. If you don't have mentors in the space, your target industry and your target skill set that you want to be involved in, reach out to people. Do send that note when you want to connect with them. If you've made a list of the companies that you're aspiring to work for, connect with those people, because I can't guarantee that it will change the outcome of your application, but it will help you to gain more information if that person actually turns around and says, I'm really happy to connect. Now, again, succinct, short messages, super important, but also be realistic about their time as well. So don't try and book in an hour conversation with somebody you've never met before. Try a virtual coffee, 30 minutes tops, and you are much more likely to get a response. And they might say, do you know what? I've got 15 minutes, but I'd love to chat to you.
Yeah. Pet hate on LinkedIn, when you've accepted the invite and then it tells the network your birthday, and then someone wishes you happy birthday, and you say thank you, and they say, got any job vacancies? And really sincere best wishes, folks. Thank you. Don't do that. I'm getting more numbers waved at me. We will just quickly go to you, Dina, around mindset resilience. There's probably people in this room that have applied for triple figures of job vacancies, and probably 90% of those never even get a response that says, sorry, but no thanks. How do you stay strong, and how do you stay focused and upbeat, and what sort of practical things would you recommend?
Yeah, I think maybe two things. One is around the people around you, having maybe one other person who's also job hunting to go through this process with you, to be sending each other posts, to be applying together, just to know you are not alone. Like, everybody here experiences this, so you're not alone. And also, human beings, we like to create. So if you're spending half of your day applying, maybe spend another 2 hours of your day trying to create something, producing something, getting into that sense of flow, because that makes you happy. It makes you feel like you're finishing something and you're not waiting for that external reward from getting accepted in an interview and so on to get your dopamine hit. You're creating your own experiences of getting your dopamine hits. That could be working on side projects. That could be on just simply drawing. Just get that. Take care of yourself as you're going through that process. And celebrate when you get one bit of response. Celebrate the responses. Don't celebrate the absences.
Yeah, Bel?
The other thing that I'd really recommend, and talking about building and finding happiness as well, but equally still informing yourself, there are the most amazing content and influencers on LinkedIn. And if you're not already listening to them, you can find newsletters, but podcasts as well. Spend some time listening to those. The information that you pick up in those podcasts, if you can drop that into a conversation, in a cover letter or into your, into an interview situation, suddenly the interviewer is going to be really interested that you might not have the experience, but you're showing a genuine interest in that industry.
Yeah, very good. Now, I can see Matt waving at the back. I'm just going to come to you literally for quick fire. Tia, assuming the CV is already brilliant, what's one thing you would recommend people do today to advance their career search?
Their search?
Or landing the interview they need.
Yeah, so I think for landing the interview, the first thing I do after I've seen my CV, I do a one skim and then I go straight to LinkedIn. If you have no LinkedIn presence, other than it's an exact copy of my CV, then it doesn't tell me anything more about you as a candidate.
Okay.
Get some stuff on there.
LinkedIn, Dina, quick fire.
Narrow down your job search. Be picky about what you want, and then you will shine.
Luke?
Yeah, spray and pay. Spray and pray does not pay is the phrase. There are even caps on like numbers of jobs you can apply at the same company, and then they just auto reject. So just be aware of that. Make sure each shot counts.
Very good. Bel, final word.
Only put technical skills on your CV that you wish to talk about in an interview situation. Top tip.
Some story behind that, right? Okay, I can feel the looming presence of our wonderful floor host behind me, emerging closer and closer. I just wanted to say thank you very much to the panel, Bel and Luke and Dina and Tia. This is merely the hors d'oeuvre for what you've got in store today, which is a feast of insight and inspiration. So I would welcome you to come downstairs. We'll be hanging around on the Meet the Speaker stage. Hope you had a brilliant day. And my name has been Rob McCargow. Good luck for the rest of the search. Thank you very much.